Who's actually going to get the most out of a Leica Q2, and who should walk away before the checkout? If you're a street photographer who wants a single, ultra-sharp focal length, and you don't mind paying a premium for that freedom, this could be the camera you finally stop scrolling for. If you're a hobbyist who swaps lenses every few months, or you're hoping to get a full-frame camera for under $1,000, you'll probably regret the purchase. And for the everyday buyer wondering whether the price justifies the performance, the answer hinges on how you plan to use it day to day. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about why that matters, because the Q2 is a very specific tool. It's built around a 28mm f1.7 Summilux lens that never changes, and that design choice drives every other decision you'll make with the camera. The biggest hesitation most people have is the Nolan swap limitation. When you walk into a camera store, you'll see a full-frame DSLR, or a mirrorless kit, with a kit lens that covers 2470mm. And you'll think, why am I stuck at 28mm? That's a fair concern, and it's the first gatekeeper for the Q2. If you can live with a single, wide-angle perspective, the rest of the package starts to make sense. First, let's break down the sensor. The 47.3 megapixel full-frame CMOS paired with Leica's Maestro 2 processor delivers images that are more detailed than most 24 megapixel full frames you'll find in a comparable price range. In practice, that extra resolution shows up when you're shooting street scenes or landscapes, and you need to pull back a bit of the frame to straighten a crooked line. The high-resolution OLED viewfinder, 3.68 MP, gives you a crystal-clear preview, so you can actually see the detail you're about to capture. That matters when you're trying to decide whether a shadow is just a shadow or an opportunity for texture. Autofocus is another real-world factor. The Q2 uses contrast detect AF, and on a bright day it's razor-fast locked onto a subject in a split second, which is why many photographers love Leica's point-and-shoot feel despite the high resolution. In low light, the f1.7 aperture helps a lot. You'll still get a decent focus lock at around EV2. That means you can walk into a dimly lit jazz club, raise the ISO, and still catch a performer's expression without hunting for focus. However, the lack of phase detect AF means you might experience a slight lag when tracking fast movers in darkness, so if you specialize in nighttime sports or wildlife, this camera won't be your go-to. Stabilization is a practical point that trips up many first-time full-frame owners. The Q2 has no in-body image stabilization. So the whole handheld low-light argument rests on the lens's f1.7 aperture and your technique. For most street photography situations, a steady hand and a fast shutter will keep blur at bay, but if you plan on doing handheld long exposures, think night cityscapes, without a tripod you'll need to rely on the lens's optical steadiness, and possibly compromise on shutter speed. In other words, the Q2 is not a sit-and-forget low-light stabilizer, it rewards those who understand how to balance ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. Battery confidence is a question that comes up often when people compare mirrorless bodies. The Q2 uses a standard Leica BPDC-9 battery, which the manufacturer rates for about 350 shots per charge. In real usage, I've seen folks get roughly 350 good shots before needing a recharge, which is decent for a camera that drives a high-resolution sensor. If you're a travel photographer expecting to shoot all day without swapping batteries, you'll probably want a spare anyway, but the battery life isn't a deal-breaker for most one-day outings. Now let's talk about the user interface. The 3-inch rear touchscreen is responsive, and the menu layout is clean, but there's a learning curve if you come from a DSLR background. The Q2 favors a minimalist approach. Many of the custom settings you might be used to, like assigning a button to change ISO on the fly, are tucked away in deeper menus. That can cause friction when you try to adjust settings quickly. For seasoned photographers who are comfortable diving into menus, it's a minor inconvenience. For beginners, the limited custom shortcuts could feel like a hurdle, especially when you need to adapt to changing light quickly. Who should put this camera in the bag? If you're a street photographer, documentary-style shooter, or a travel enthusiast who values a just-shoot-it workflow, the Q2's fixed 28mm f1.7 lens becomes a creative catalyst. The combination of massive resolution and shallow depth of field lets you capture both the sweeping environment and intimate subject isolation without swapping lenses. Its weather-sealed magnesium alloy body, IP52, means you can keep shooting when the rain turns a cityscape into a reflection pane. Just remember to protect the viewfinder against direct water. On the flip side, who should skip it? Anyone who expects a versatile zoom range will find it limiting. If you're into portrait